That covers the basic gist of syntax and programming rules. So now that we know how to write code and where to write code, we next need to cover what happens after we have typed out our program and run our code. Because writing a piece of code for a game or for a database is cool and all, but after the computer interprets the program, how will we know what's happening and whether or not it is working? Well, programmers do this by looking at the console. The console is a text interface within your computer that us programmers can use for a variety of different purposes. If you remember, a short while ago we showed a picture of a basic IDE, and one of the main parts of the picture was the console. The main use of the console is to output text from the program. This is usually done by using a print statement. A print statement is a command that does exactly what it sounds like. It prints text to the console. The print statement is the first piece of actual code we've talked about in this series, and it's about as simple as it gets. The print statement, despite its simplicity, is one of the most important functions in programming and exists in some form in just about every programming language. The most basic thing you can ask the print statement to do is to just simply make it say something. This is done by instructing the console to print, and then include whatever you want to be printed inside the parentheses. For example, in Python, the segment of code print hello world will cause a message reading hello world to appear onto the console. Pretty neat. The print statement is also vital for viewing and interpreting the computer's output from a program. For instance, if you tell a computer to run a simple calculation, for example to determine what 4 plus 3 is, it will run the program internally and compute an answer. However, what is the purpose of having the computer run this program if you will not be able to tell what the result is? Instead of simply telling the computer to perform this calculation, instruct the computer to print the output of the program to the console, and upon the program's completion, 7 will appear on the console. As you can see, the console allows us to easily print information out to the developer for a variety of uses. It is important to note that the print statement varies depending on the programming language being used. For example, in Java, there are multiple versions of the print statement depending upon whether you would like a line break after the printed text or not, as well as specialized print statements which make your code run more efficiently. Also, the general syntax of using a print statement and certain nuances of its function can change between languages. However, you can generally rely on it to carry out the same overall function, as it is a foundational statement for programming in general. All of its functionality makes the print statement, along with the console, a very useful developer tool. However, it is important to remember that that is all it is, a developer tool. The console is not really meant to be viewed by the end user of your program. It tends to be hidden away behind the scenes, and other methods of displaying information, such as displaying text, graphics, or images, are used to convey information to the user instead. Think of it like this. When you are using your phone, you see the console in none of the programs you use. So while you can use the console to give yourself information about how your program is performing, don't try to implement it into the final product because it fundamentally just isn't meant for that. Overall, remember to use the console to its fullest extent when writing and fixing problems in your programs, as it is a great tool to use to tell how your program is performing behind the scenes.